Okay. I need to start by saying something that might be controversial.
Here we go.
Most anime games? Trash. Like, genuinely, embarrassingly bad. And I say that as someone who loves anime. I have bought so many of these games. I have been hurt so many times.
I feel like you just described a toxic relationship.
It is a toxic relationship. I keep going back, every single time. Oh, this one has a cool trailer.
This one will be different.
This one will be different. And it never is. Except. Some of them, chef's kiss. Like, actually brilliant. And that is what we're talking about today.
That is exactly what we're talking about today. The best anime adaptations into video games. The ones that actually got it right.
The ones that made me forgive the entire industry for every bad licensed game I ever played.
A high bar.
A very high bar. Let's go.
Welcome to another Side Quest podcast, a detour worth taking. I'm AJ.
And I'm Sky, and today we are getting into the games, the anime games, specifically the ones that didn't completely fumble it.
Which, statistically, is a smaller list than you'd hope.
Statistically. He said statistically. This man runs the numbers on anime games.
I mean, someone has to.
Okay, so look, we're going to talk about some genuine standouts today. Games that took the source material, understood it, like actually understood what made the anime work, and then built something real around it.
And we're not just talking about games that look pretty or have the right music. We're talking about games where you play it and go, yeah, that feels like the show.
That feeling, that's the thing. That's the whole conversation. Because most licensed games have the aesthetic but lose the soul.
Right. The logo's there, the character models are fine, and then you play it, and it feels like nothing.
Like eating a picture of food.
That's a vivid way to put it, yeah.
I have vivid experiences with bad games. Let's get into it.
So let's lay some groundwork first. When we're talking about anime adaptations into games, there's kind of two failure modes, right? The first is the game that plays it too safe.
Oh God, the press X to reenact the anime games.
Exactly, you're just watching cutscenes you've already seen, doing very simple combat, and the game is essentially a greatest hits reel with buttons.
It's a $60 highlight reel with loading screens.
Yeah. And then the second failure mode is going too far the other direction, making a game so separate from the source that it loses all connection to what made people care about it in the first place.
Both of these have hurt me personally.
I know, but the ones that get it right, they find this third thing. They use the world, the characters, the tone as the foundation, and then build a game on top of that foundation that has its own reasons to exist.
Say it louder for the developers in the back.
I'm not going louder, but I mean it.
Okay, so like Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? Can we start there? Because that game understood the assignment.
Yeah, FighterZ is a great place to start. Because Arc System Works looked at Dragon Ball, and they didn't just make a fighting game with Dragon Ball characters, they made a game that actually feels like watching the anime. The way moves connect, the way the camera follows the action.
Okay, the way the camera swings during supers. When you do a full combo into a Kamehameha and the screen goes white and then it cuts like an anime episode? Come on.
It's cinematic in a way that earns it.
It earns it. Yes, that's the word. It earns the visual flair because the gameplay underneath is actually, it's a really well-made fighting game. Like, Arc knows what they're doing.
And I think that's kind of the first principle here. You need a competent game studio that actually cares, not just a licensed product pushed out to meet a release date.
Real ones know the difference. You can feel when a game was made with love versus when it was made with a spreadsheet.
That's surprisingly poetic for this early in the episode.
I contain multitudes, AJ.
Evidently.
Okay, so we have to talk about the one. The big one. My beloved. My everything.
Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm.
Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. Thank you. Thank you.
I knew that's where you were going.
Because it's correct. That game series, specifically Storm 1 and Storm 4, those are legitimately some of the best anime adaptations ever made in any medium.
Okay, so I want to push back slightly, not on the quality, but I want to explore why. Because saying it's good isn't enough. What specifically does Storm do that most games don't?
Okay, good question.
What does it understand about Naruto that another studio might miss?
The stakes, the emotional stakes. Like the fights in Naruto are not just cool action sequences, they're arguments. They're two characters having an emotional confrontation that happens to involve giant frog summons.
Giant frog summons as emotional metaphor.
And Storm gets that. The boss battles in those games, especially the later ones, they're structured like the anime episodes. There's build-up, there's a turning point, there's a moment where the music swaps and everything changes.
The scene transitions. The way they'll drop into a cinematic mid-fight and then pull you back into gameplay.
It's seamless. You forget you're playing a game for a second. You're just in it.
And I think that's actually the ceiling for this genre, right? The best these games can do is make you forget the medium for a moment.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it.
The seams disappear, and Storm, at its best, does that.
Wait, we also have to bring up One Piece Pirate Warriors, because that's a different approach entirely, and it also kind of works.
Yeah, Pirate Warriors is interesting because it's a Musou game. The Warriors franchise formula. Big battlefields, you're fighting hundreds of enemies.
And normally, I don't love Musou games. Like, they can get repetitive.
They can.
But One Piece is like, weirdly perfect for that formula?
Because the entire fantasy of One Piece is Luffy just wrecking entire armies by himself. The scale of the battles.
Marineford! If you put me in Marineford and let me just go, I am not putting that controller down. I'm not eating. My friends will not hear from me.
See, and that's smart adaptation. They looked at the series and asked, what's the core fantasy here? And the answer was overwhelming, joyful, ridiculous power. And Musou games are great at delivering that.
It fits like a glove.
Genre fit matters a lot. It's not always about making the most technically impressive game. It's about finding the right vessel for what the anime actually is.
Okay, can I bring up one that I feel is a little underrated in this conversation?
Go ahead.
My Hero Academia, One's Justice. Okay, before you say anything,
I wasn't going to say anything.
your face said something.
It's a competent game.
It's a competent game. That's the most AJ burn I've ever heard.
No, look. I think One's Justice has genuine moments. The Plus Ultra Supers are fun. The destructible environments match the chaotic energy of hero fights.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You're fighting through buildings, walls are crumbling.
It captures something real about how quirk-based combat would feel, but it doesn't quite go far enough. It stays on the surface of the show in a way Storm doesn't.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair critique. It's like, it gets the action right, but not the heart.
The characters are there, the moves are there, but the emotional architecture of MHA, the mentor relationships, the class dynamics, that doesn't translate into the gameplay loop.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good time, but it doesn't make you feel things.
Whereas Storm 4's Sasuke versus Naruto fight, genuinely, I sat there for a minute afterward.
Bro, don't bring that up. I'm going to get emotional at work.
We're recording a podcast.
Same thing.
So stepping back a little, I think there's a broader question here about what makes an anime IP valuable for game development. And it's not just popularity.
Oh, this is going to be a good take. I can feel it.
Some of the biggest anime in the world have had quietly forgettable games. Attack on Titan had a couple of attempts, the Omega Force games, and they were fine, but never felt essential.
And Attack on Titan is like perfect game material on paper. Vertical maneuvering, giant enemies, emotional story.
On paper, yes. But I think what happened is, no studio fully cracked how the ODM gear should feel to control. The movement was always a little off.
The movement. It never felt like watching Levi move. It felt like a shopping cart on ice.
A shopping cart on ice, sure.
And if you can't nail the movement in an Attack on Titan game, the thing that makes the show thrilling, nothing else matters.
And that's kind of the lesson. The thing that makes a show great, its specific, irreducible quality, that has to translate into the game's core mechanic. If it doesn't, you've built a house on sand.
That is the principle. I want that on a poster.
So Dragon Ball, the escalating power, the screen-shaking impact, FighterZ gets that. Naruto, the emotional rivalry, the come-from-behind determination, Storm gets that. One Piece, the overwhelming freedom and scale, Pirate Warriors gets that.
And when the core loop matches the soul of the show, that's when magic happens.
Right, and the games that don't work, most of the time it's because they identified the wrong thing. They adapted the visual style instead of the feeling.
Okay, I want to talk about one more that I think deserves credit. Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles. Because I feel like that game gets slept on.
It does. It covers the first season plus Mugen Train. The combat is gorgeous.
The combat is gorgeous. The breathing style moves are visually stunning. When you pull off a flame-breathing combo, it's like watching the anime on fast forward, and it's incredible.
And I think Hinokami Chronicles understood something smart. Demon Slayer as an anime is primarily a visual spectacle. The animation is the thing. And so making a game that prioritizes visual impact over mechanical complexity was probably the right call.
It's a game that knows what it is.
Exactly. It knows its lane.
And I respect that so much. Don't try to be something you're not. Just execute your thing really well.
That's actually good life advice embedded in a conversation about anime games.
This podcast is educational.
We're broadening horizons.
Okay, final thing before we get to recommendations. Is there an anime that you think desperately needs a great game that doesn't have one yet?
That's a good question. Give me a second.
I'll go first. Jujutsu Kaisen. I know there are games, but none of them have nailed it. Cursed energy as a game mechanic, domain expansion as a gameplay system, that has so much potential.
It really does. The domains alone could be an entire puzzle combat mechanic.
Exactly. Someone please make this. I'm begging.
For me, Vinland Saga. I know it's less obvious, but that show is about a warrior trying to stop being a warrior. The internal conflict of a man who's lethal and hates it. If someone built an action RPG around that tension, rewarding you for non-lethal choices, making violence feel costly, that could be extraordinary.
Okay, that's actually a fascinating concept. That's a game I would play immediately.
The right studio with the right vision. That's all it ever takes.
And also like money, funding, you know, the small stuff.
Yeah, that too.
All right, before we wrap, recommendation time. AJ, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so if anything we talked about today made you think about anime that have rich worlds worth exploring, I want to point you toward Shangri-La Frontier. It's an anime about a hardcore gamer who specifically seeks out broken, terrible games to conquer them, and then gets pulled into an incredibly deep and beautiful MMO called Shangri-La Frontier.
And the actual game within the show feels like something you genuinely want to play, which is a hard thing to pull off.
It's funny, it's got real tension, and the protagonist is just refreshingly competent in a genre that tends to lean hard on wish fulfillment. I'd give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
That's a high score from Mr. Measured.
It earned it.
Okay, takeaways. Number 1, the best anime games understand the feeling of the show, not just the look.
Number 2, genre fit matters. Find the mechanic that matches the fantasy.
And number 3, someone Please make a good Jujutsu Kaisen game. I said what I said.
I said Vinland Saga, but that also stands.
We're another side quest podcast, a detour worth taking. Subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you on the next detour.
Take care.